fighters get all of the credit, both with the noise of their engines and with the noise they make at air shows with the crowds. But there are so many unrecognized or unloved aircraft behind the scenes, the stalwarts of armed forces, and that's the trainers. Whilst the F-16s and F-18s fly within the American display teams, in Europe it was more commonplace to use trainers. Even historically, with the Thunderbirds, for example, you had the F-16, the F-5, the F-4, so many different fighters. But in Europe, for example, you had display teams flying all sorts of different trainers, from the Hawk, Gnat, Jet Provost, to the Alpha Jets, and the Fouga Magister before it, to the MB339. There's just so many different trainers. But in America, that wasn't the case, and so icons like that, what we're looking at today, went unrecognized, and that's the North American, later Rockwell, T2 Buckeye. Hey guys, it's model making time. Use the timestamps down below to skip to your favorite bit of the video if you need to. That includes the history of the T2 Buckeye, the Kitstory, the history of the kits, and the construction, painting, decaling, and popping off of the model kit itself. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to the channel too to be kept up to date with the latest and greatest videos, and leave a comment down below. Do you love the T2 Buckeye? It's such a rugged and unusual looking plane, but I fell in love with it during the course of this construction, and you'll see why later on. The T2 is an ungainly machine that was conceived out of the need for urgent training for naval pilots. Of course, there were trainers already, but trainers were often adapted from other aircraft, not necessarily suited to the modern fighter pilot. And this was a clean-ish design. I think you can see the similarities to some of North American's history, but it was designed with training in mind. And that made it really different compared to the previous aircraft that were training on carriers in the United States Naval Air Service. And in fact, I think even compared to sort of contemporaries abroad, it's quite unusual, even today. First flying on January 31st, 1958, the T2 was a forgiving machine, I guess, compared to, again, fighter jets at the time. And that's what you really need in a jet trainer, a safe environment for people to learn. Carrier landings are some of the most dangerous and unforgiving that you can ever do. And so having a machine that was, easy to handle, again, relatively speaking, and able to help guide someone to doing those fantastically difficult landings, it's so important. And this fit that requirement. The T2 kept evolving. With updated avionics and an updated engine, it would become the T-2C, and that was its final form. From its first flight in 1958, its final service with the US would be in 2008. 50 years later, it's still in service with other air arms, such as with Greek with the Hellenic Air Force and with Venezuela. It's quite remarkable that this aircraft, this lumbering giant of the skies, has become so iconic, and it remains well loved, and you can still see it flying on the American private circuit. Wish we'd see it in the UK though, because I've not seen one of these fly. And I guess that brings us on to the history of the kit as well, the Kitstory, because it's kind of unloved there too. Originally released in 1986 with Matchbox, was the original T2 Buckeye kit, and that would be re-released quite a few times, and I did get one of the Matchbox boxings, at least initially, more on that later. There was a Revell boxing too, but that wouldn't come for another 23 years. A year after it left US service, it got a boxing in 2009. And that was kind of it. There is another tooling from Wolfpack, and that had various releases from 2015 up until 2021, reflecting its US and foreign service. But it's kind of a really unloved aircraft, if I may say so. Quite a shame. Does mean it's quite a short Kitstory though, which is nice because these heels are killing me. But yeah, it is a shame because I think this aircraft's great. I love the Hellenic scheme, the Greek scheme. It was what I was going to build, but I ended up just going for the US version because I really wanted to test out white. So before we go into the construction and I have a little run there, let's go and have a look what's inside the box. And if I've remembered to record it, we'll look in the Matchbox and the Revell one. All will become clear. I may have been mistaken because I think it's the Revell one I actually build first. The sets are identical though, both coming with US Navy and Hellenic Air Force, which is Greece, both inside the box. The box is quite nice, very snug, but shows you everything that you need to see for the T-2C/E Buckeye. The set is very, very simple, which is, well, kind of an iconic part of Matchbox kits, though this is only in white plastic, whereas the Matchbox one is in white and grey. The sprues are, well, short. There's not many parts to it, and it makes a very quick and easy build. And the transparency in the Revell one is much nicer, partly because it was sealed away separately, and also because it's modern production. The decals are also quite nice. I had nothing really of note to say about them, and the instructions, while aged for Revell, are still perfectly acceptable. Now you see inside the box, you'll see this kit is really simple, which is great because I've been dying to try out white more because I've never been good at white paints, and I did my F5 in Turkish Stars colours and was like, oh, I'm starting to get a bit more confident. You know, there's the challenges of overspray with different colours, and it shows up way more on like a white model, and it just really tests your skills. So I figured, hey, I'm gonna just do this in the US colours, try out the white, get that really bright, vibrant orange. Gives me a few different things to try with Gallery's Kaleido paint range. And that's what I ended up doing. Full disclosure, the paints and airbrush were provided from Gallery, so just bear that in mind. However, they've never asked me to do anything. I just use their stuff and give an honest review. That's why I've constantly ended up using the Gallery markers for undercarriage, because like, I'm really lazy and they're really good for that. So yeah, either way, I really think this model ended up coming out amazingly. And I guess I should just address the elephant in the room of why there's a Revell and a Matchbox set. And that's because I started building this and got all the way to the point where I'd fully like taken off all the masking tape and it looked fantastic and I was super happy. And then I was using one of the markers on it, pressed down because I was like, I'm just gonna rush this, and black everywhere. And then I was like, no, I'll clean it off. And instead of using cleaner, I stupidly picked up isopropyl alcohol, which I use for cleaning up messes or cleaning up off clothes and that sort of thing. And obviously that stripped all of the paint and melted all of the paint off it and ruined it. So I threw the kit in the bin, ended my stream and went, I'm gonna go cry. But, you know, I was like, no, I'm still gonna do this. I still really wanna get this done. I'm not gonna let this cursed kit beat me. It nearly beat me. I ruined the decals. I got very stressed, but I ended up finishing it. So bear with me during the construction of this kit. I promise you, it ends up nice in the end. So let's go have a look. You can tell how old this build was because I'm using my god hands, which I ultimately ended up breaking. But nevertheless, we crack on with the T2 Buckeye. This is a very simple kit. Again, that's just kind of Matchbox's whole deal. So we put some fish weight in the nose and you can see it rolling about in the bottom. I will secure that later with either glue and glaze or super glue. I can't quite remember which of those I used in this instance, but it is normally glue and glaze. But when I am impatient, it can be super glue. Either are fine, but just remember, whatever you're using, let the plastic glue dry first or cure first, because otherwise super glue or glue and glaze can react with it. In this instance, I'm using Deluxe Materials plastic glue, which was my glue of choice for quite some time. The only reason it's not now is because I've just got a lot of the Tamiya stuff to work through, and it saves me a bit of money just using stuff that I've got on hand. I'm using Tamiya tape to secure parts together to make sure they stay nice and snug, and you can see the tail section has that two-part section on the bit I inserted and one on the other, so it's quite hard to get them the wrong way around. The air intakes go underneath the model, which are incredibly easy to forget, so make sure you remember to pop those in as well. The landing gear on this is actually quite sturdy, which is a nice change because quite often with 1/72 scale aircraft, they're not. I did have to put a bit of filler on, so I did sand it down with my flexi files as well, and well, it made a really nice little kit. It just took no time at all. Once the landing gear was in and dried, I did add on the doors for the landing gear too. I just made sure that the actual landing gear proper was all done first. I did have to add some filler to the wingtips as well, because these tanks seem to be impossible to get off the sprues without breaking the very ends of them, as it happened in both of the examples that I have from both Revell and Matchbox.
With the model itself, I did initially prime it with Gallery's white primer, and then I went ahead and masked off the sections that were going to stay white in order to make sure that I painted the orange. This is a technique that I will use in another aircraft for a video that is coming out in the near future. The reason for doing this is that then once I've painted everything, I can go back over the white with Gallery's white afterwards. It might sound a bit silly, but it's kind of a good way to clean up after you've done colours, especially because then you can use things like IPA if you really want to get rid of any colour, or really use the cleaner that comes with it. The orange I'm using is a mix of sort of their red, shine red I think it was, and the standard orange. And it makes this beautiful colour. I don't know exactly what the mix is, but I just did it by eye, and it just makes an orange that's not quite too orange and seems to match the pictures that I've seen online. Once the masking tape came off, I had to remask the areas that were going to be black. This is where I did get some bleed through, at least on one of the two examples that I made, because the black went under the tape, which is my fault. I should have made sure I'd sprayed all the orange first, so well, that is my fault. The wingtips as well do have to have black on the insides of them, so I sort of taped off half of those as well and did black on the insides of those too. This is a really scary part to paint black on an orange and white model, because black is so hard to cover up with either of those colours, but luckily for me it went swimmingly, and so look how clean this thing looks. I taped up where the sort of black walkway area would be and did that by hand because, well, I just forgot to do it when I did the spraying initially. This is something I'll try and remember to do on the next version. I then paint the leading edges of the wings as well because they appear to be black, and you will also notice that I've painted the air intakes because the front of those is black too. And well, here's where I learned a costly mistake. These Posca pens I ordered initially for my Turkish Stars F5 video because I was going to use the white one to create the crescent moon and star on the tail section. Unfortunately, however, it was too big, so I thought, well, I'll just try and use them for this. And it was all going well until I pushed down too hard. And then disaster struck. I got paint all over the model, and well, it was ruined. And stupidly, I picked up my IPA to wipe it off, and I wiped off everything. So it was back to the drawing board with the Matchbox one I had up in my stash. Again, it's pretty much the exact same except for the colour of the plastic, meaning that it was going to need some priming underneath first. I made sure to paint the cockpit black, so I'm not going to have the same mistake again, and then primed the whole thing in Gallery's white. I taped it up as I did the last one and went ahead and painted on the orange. Luckily, I already know how to do the colour of red and orange together to get the beautiful trainer colour, and then I peeled it all off. I did find the tail section particularly tricky, and it didn't come out quite as I had hoped, so I did have to do some manual touch-up. After I had done all the little touch-ups, which I did with the brush, which you sort of saw me do in the previous one, I went ahead and used Gallery's pens to paint the inside. You'll notice I've not put on the full undercarriage in this instance because I decided to do that afterwards. It was then a case of doing the decals, which went on really nicely. I did have a mix of Matchbox and Revell decals on, depending on what actually worked, and well, part of that was because in all of the fuss, I managed to get some paint on some of the Revell ones, and that's why I've got this sort of yellowed navy section, but I was at this point so exhausted having to do this whole model twice that we just sort of went with it. I painted the wheels with the Gallery pens as well. It's worth referencing that I have covered the whole model with a gloss coat. I use AK's glosses, and I painted the canopies with primer white as well to make sure they match the actual model. And I did a little bit of cleanup just with a cotton bud and some cleaner, and well, that was kind of it. Put the wheels on and well, I've done it twice.
Great, so we finished. What a stressful journey. This was meant to be a quick mojo build, by the way. It was not. I guess it was a mojo build in a way. It encouraged me to persevere and just know that I can build something great. And my airbrushing skills definitely have improved. I've learned to use lower PSIs, Turns out I've been doing it way too high for ages. And I've got a lot better with galleries paints. I'm also getting better with life colours too, but I've not been airbrushing them a lot. I've just been using them to do touch-ups, and I think that's what works for me. Really hoping Galleries, Kaleido, Military range is as good as the standard range, because these paints are great. They do go on quite thick, so I really want to try something intricate at some point, or something that has a matte or satin finish, because I don't know how they look on that. I've always gone for hyper glossy models, because I'm quite extra and glossy myself, if you can't tell. So anyway, let's go and have a look at the T2 Buckeye popping off. Well, what do you think? I love this kit. It's super simple, super easy to do. And much like the real aircraft, it's quite robust. You can drop this and it doesn't break that easily. Don't ask me how I know. But I do really enjoy this kit. I mean, I built it twice, so you'd hope I enjoyed it. The paint scheme's quite easy and there's a lot of different variants you can do. There's a much more modern T2 scheme you can do. The black on the sort of nose goes all the way across it. Really striking. Couldn't decide if I wanted to do that. Couldn't work out if I had the right decals for it. Decided not to. But one I may do in the future. I really want to do the Greek one too. Something about that camo or the Buckeye, it just looks so cool. It looks way more aged than the plane is too. And it's mad to think they're still going. Wow. So yeah, in terms of my Biofly, definitely buy this kit. Don't spend loads on it though, like, girly, this kit is worth like £5 to £12 at most. And to be honest, I've never seen it go for more than that. Both the ones I bought were definitely cheaper than that. I'm pretty sure the Matchbox one I bought for like a £5, and I bought the Revell one for not much more than a £10, I think. So that should be your guidelines. Hopefully Revell re-releases this kit, please. It's really nice, and you could include some new decals with it, so you could do like the different schemes on it, like a super decal set. That would be really cool. So yeah, definitely buy this kit, pick it up if you see it really cheap, really quick and easy mojo build, literally throw on some white, throw on some orange, boom, you're done. Okay, it's not quite that simple, it does take a lot of masking if you're doing it my way, but if you're doing it freehand, you can probably do this in a day. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. I found this so stressful, but it just goes to show that sometimes if you stick it out, you'll end up with a good kit. If you want to see more of my videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments down below. Do you think I nailed this kit in the end? If you want to support the channel more and help me buy model kits when I screw them up the first time, become a channel member today. The difference between two levels is advanced kits get shouted out at the end of each video, like you'll see at the end of this one. And if you want to join a vibrant community of model makers, it's a really chill community and you'll get on with everyone, I just know it. Join the Discord, with the link is in the description down below. It's a forum style layout, so you can share your latest creations or your finished builds. It's really chill like that. I'll see you there. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Thanks for watching the videos. You can see all the lovely starter kit and advanced kit level members here who have helped support the channel. A big shout out goes to my advanced kit level members, including Taggers365, Star Trek Props and Models, Bobby G, Dafty Duck, Bob and Genevieve Albridge, David Barber, Jeff Dioramas, and the two longest supporters of advanced kit level members, that's Explosive Water and Crazy Loacher, who has given a load more donations of more advanced kit level members, so thank you so much for your support over the time. It really does make a world of difference. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, make sure to subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date with my latest and greatest videos, including live streams, which I aim to do, well, 1 to 3 times a week, depending on my availability. And here's a recommended video for you. Bye!